talking about $8 billion and how we spend it better. If there was a way through AI with privacy protection for the banks to actually share information, wouldn't that be a helpful tool?
We're all for the engagement that we can do to improve this. Absolutely. It just, from a law enforcement perspective, from my agency, we're trying to enforce the laws.
But would you be willing to think about how we might better spend that $8 billion if part of that was being able to have banks be able, in a way, so they're not just filing defensive SARs all the time, to actually share pattern information with you that was appropriately privacy protected?
That's the key. You just hit on a key: defensive SARs. Right, defensive SARs, the defensive filings are a lot of the white noise, or a lot of
we got a lot of money here, $8 billion. If that's roughly, and thinking of better allocation, I for one of my conclusions I've come to, at least in mine, is what Senator Kennedy mentioned already. But I think we need stronger rules about beneficial ownership. I know there's some in the business community that are opposed to that, but my goodness, if we're gonna try to rebalance this, that ought to be one of the tools.
Senator, we're already having those conversations through our 314B consortiums. So we're having, how do we use artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? Very different in how that approach happens. How we're using to become more efficient and effective, right? How can we use it to have financial institutions share in a better way? But keep in mind, as you mentioned earlier, privacy is important. And we have to make sure the security and the privacy of that information that these banks are now sharing. So that is part in the mix too, but we're having those conversations.
My time's running out. Let me just quickly, the things I would hope you'd come back to me with is, what are the cost, if there's been any estimation, of false positives and misallocation? What is some of the usefulness, to further demonstrate in some of these gap numbers? And one of the earlier hearings I think we raised, I'm still sorting through, how do we get more of the FinCEN expertise down at the bank regulator? Because I don't think you're ever going to get the safety and soundness regulator to make this a priority. And frankly, I'm not sure that the bank is ever going to not see this as something other than appropriately realize the value that comes out of this. And maybe there may be tools we could use. I think one thing that the chairman and the ranking member has done is, I think there's a lot of interest in seeing how we can improve the system, and I think there's a lot of common agreement. So we look forward to working with you. And again, thank you both for.
Senator